Hello, I'm Nayaswami Jyotish, and I'm going to be reading one of our essays from our collection of blogs, Touch of Peace. This one is called When Worries Howl. In his magnificent poem, God, 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 Paramhansa Yogananda writes these lines: when boisterous storms of trials shriek, and when worries howl at me, I will drown their noises loudly chanting, God, God, God. Who among us has not had to deal with his share of trials? And when storms of trials arrive, the advanced troops are the howling winds of worry. It is worry, even more than the trial itself, that usually does the damage to our peace and happiness. Recently, the world of Ananda has been facing some challenges, as is true with any growing organization. While these tests are not personally directed at Devi and me, we nonetheless are deeply involved in doing our part to deal with them. And even though I am generally of a calm and even-minded nature, worries have been howling around in my mind. Perhaps it will be helpful to you if I share some of my strategies for dealing with them. First, as Yogananda suggests, God is the solution to every test. So, I am doing everything I can to keep my mind God-centered. This includes meditating more, trying to feel the presence and support of God and Guru throughout the day, and repeating a chant in the background of my thoughts. It hasn't killed the worries, but it has helped me diminish them. If I allow the worries to gather momentum, it is hard to keep focused in meditation. For this, I have several tools in my tool belt. The first is to try to become very present in observing my breath and using the techniques of this path. Pranayama is much more effective than thought for controlling agitated feelings. Sometimes, though, the mind is so restless that even keeping focused on a technique is difficult. Then I have found this visualization helpful. I imagine being in a round room, which is my inner temple. Around the walls are many doors leading to various outer rooms of distraction, rooms such as worries, projects, memories, etc. I first must make a clear, conscious decision to be in my temple, which brings the mind into the here and now. Then I mentally shut each door. The door that leads to my particular worry of the moment, I not only close, but lock, meaning that I refuse to allow my mind to go there. Once I am truly determined to do so, it is not too hard to close off those thoughts. How does one summon that determination? It is an act of devotion, of calling to God, even desperately for help if that's what it takes. That is what Master meant in writing, I will drown their noises loudly chanting, God, God, God. After the disrupting energy is calmed, I focus deeply at the spiritual eye and try to bring all my energy and awareness there. When a door of distraction opens on its own, I find it relatively easy to shut it again if I do it right away. After a few attempts, the door of worry stays shut. The effort needed to slam the door 2 or 3 times pays great dividends in bringing peace and calmness. When I am centered again, I then try to focus deeply on my techniques, on devotion, and on inner communion with God. This is the true solution, because when the consciousness is raised, worries won't arise. Having drowned the noises of worries, as Yogananda advised, The time has come to chant inwardly now, God, God, God. In peace, Nayaswami Jyotish. So, as I was saying at the beginning, who of us doesn't have worries, doesn't have trials in our lives? They're just a part of life. There's no way that we're going to easily avoid them. And so it's just wasted energy. And in fact, worse than wasted energy, it actually sets us back to think, oh, I'll deal with this when it's less, or make it go away. That rejection of what is actually adds to the problem. And so the first step is to accept the fact, I'm worrying about this, or I'm upset about this. Accept that fact. But God gives us sleep at night as a way of getting away from these things. And so during the day, we need also to have something that allows us to step back. But because we're conscious, then we have to do that stepping back consciously. That's why I gave this visualization of the room, and you see each of the distractions as a door that leads you into another room, and that room can be filled with worries, or filled with projects, or filled with preoccupations. But if you don't go into that room, it doesn't matter how full it is. So in this visualization, you shut that door, and if the mind wants repeatedly, if there's a lot of energy behind the mind wanting to return to it, then mentally lock that door, meaning that you make the determination not to think about that for a little while. At first, your mind is not going to obey you. At least that's been my experience. It's going to, without your volition, without your permission, it's going to bring up that worry. But if you, as soon as that comes up, you say, no, I'm not going to pay any attention to you now. If you do that 2 or 3 times, I've found that you can keep that. It's not very hard after that. You can keep that in abeyance. And sometimes it works permanently. Sometimes by doing that, you raise the mind, raise the consciousness, and you come to a deep inner realization, why should I spend my time worrying about that which I can't control? I just let it go. Let me live in faith. Let me live in the presence of God. And then the counterpart is to bring God more, your techniques, your meditations, devotions, chanting, whatever. Bring that element more into your life. Your mind only has the option of holding one thing at a time. We can't multitask, but we can serially shift from one thing to the next. But you can't hold multiple things in your mind. And so if you fill your mind with God reminding or uplifted thoughts, then there just isn't room for the negativity and the worries. So give this a try. As I say, it's one of the tools in my tool belt, and it's done me a lot of good. I think it will work for you too. God bless you.